We have participants from Africa, yes, predominantly, but we also have participants from countries like the UK, instructors from the University of Sheffield, for example, from Emory University in the US, from TU Delft in the Netherlands. So we have both participants who are local and participants who are international. And the idea is that knowledge exists in all areas of the globe. And what we want is to expose our students who are in Africa to expertise both within Africa and from outside. And why we are bringing together an African community of data scientists and artificial intelligence experts is because charity begins at home. If you want to solve African problems, some problems are unique to our context. So what we do is we want to build a community that will have very similar problems. If you're tackling an issue in agriculture in Uganda, a similar issue is likely to crop up in Kenya. It's more likely to be similar in Kenya than it is perhaps in the US. So when you have a community of experts who are building, both the expertise and trying to solve real problems in the world, you're very likely to succeed. And that's what our hope is, that by bringing people together from African nations, the building of the community will be able to solve problems using artificial intelligence, data science, other technologies like IoT, etc. Within Kenya, we have around 160 participants. So we have a huge contingent from Kabarak University. We have participants from Maseno, University of Nairobi, Jomo Kenyatta, University of Agriculture and Technology. So really across the board. So Strathmore University is also represented. So I think we have a good number of Kenyan universities. Of course, we would have loved to have more, but we start with the ones we have, and then we also have the international contingent from places like Makerere University, from Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology, NMIST in Arusha. So we have, I believe, a good group of African data scientists and artificial intelligence experts to really grapple with the kind of topics we are looking at here. Topics that, like now, the big thing that's happening that people are talking about is generative AI. So the technology behind things like ChatGPT. So you'll have instructors giving our students exposure to these technologies. We have this issue of running artificial intelligence models on very small computational devices. This is a discipline called Edge AI. We have a whole session on Edge AI, and that's being led by our partners from Edge Impulse. And not only, we are also going to apply that to very problems that are in our context. We're going to be using it for conservation technology in our conservancy. So we want to apply these technologies to solve problems like food security, climate change, conservation, and similar things, and things in health and agriculture, which are very relevant in our African context.
Some of the questions that the participants were asking were questions that were tailored towards their own inquisitiveness. Some of them are already looking at how, for example, the session on speech. There are so many languages in Africa, obviously, and when you have people who are interested in building speech-to-text model or speech-to-speech model to tackle the many problems we have, the many translation problems we have within the African context, it tells you how important this event has been to even the participants. Like I said, take for example, if you go to some local areas where they don't really know how to read and write, but then there's audio. So if you can do a translation from maybe English, okay, directly to a local language, then it will benefit more, okay, with the local community than it is in maybe other developed countries where virtually everybody probably can read, can write, and stuff like that. So people were asking questions along this line. People were asking questions along the line of agriculture, climate change, and disaster management. So for me, the take-home is this: we have minds that are ready to apply AI to solving their own local problems. Okay, and this is where a platform like this should be encouraged going forward. If you have, programs like this blown up into a much larger scale, then of course we can address the needs of scientists in local areas, and then they can solve their problems because they know their problems. They can solve their problem much better. Yeah.
Okay.
Naitwa Joseph Telemala, natoka Chuo Kikuu cha Sokoine cha Kilimo kilichopo nchini Tanzania. Ni mhadhiri kwenye hicho chuo kwa miaka kadhaa sasa. Nimekuja kuhudhuria ili kongamano la Data Science Africa kama mwakilishi wa mradi wangu unaoshughulika na kukusanya data kwa ajili ya kutabiri magonjwa ya maji yanayosababishwa na maji kama typhoid, cholera kwa maana ya kipindupindu na magonjwa yanayosababishwa na maji. Kuna nyingi za hii workshop au hili tamasha kwa maana ya kukuza uwezo wa vijana wa Kiafrika kwenye kuchakata data kwa kutumia mifumo ya kompyuta. Zipo faida nyingi sana kwa sababu Afrika imekuwa nyuma sana katika upande ule wa kuchakata data kwa miaka mingi. Sasa wenzetu wanatuacha kwa hatua kubwa sana. Kwa hiyo tunachofanya au faida kubwa za matamasha kama haya kama Data Science Africa ni kwamba vijana wengi sasa wanavutika kuja kushiriki, lakini pia inawafanya waone fursa za kwenda kufanyia kazi. Kwa hiyo ni moja ya matamasha ambayo ni ya muhimu sana kufanyika Afrika, lakini hasa kwenye hizi nchi zetu ambazo kupata data ni changamoto. Kwa hiyo yakifanyika hivi yanawaamsha kwenda kupambana kupata data tofauti ili waweze kuzifanyia kazi kwa ajili ya maendeleo ya nchi zao za Kiafrika. Mara nyingi tafiti huwa ni tunahitaji ni multinational. Tafiti zote mara nyingi huwa ni multinational ambazo zina matokeo mazuri. Huwa zinahusisha angalau zaidi ya nchi moja. Kwa hiyo kuletwa hapa kwa zaidi ya nchi, niliona kwenye tafiti zile statistics za VC alisema zaidi ya nchi ngapi zimekutanika. Kwa hiyo ni faida kwa sababu ni mimi nikikutana na Mganda na Rwanda na Kongo na South Africa ni kwamba tunajenga mtandao ambao ni wa wanasayansi kwenye eneo fulani. Kwa hiyo matatizo ambayo yanaikumba Kongo, Zambia, Kenya na nchi nyingine, Nigeria kwa mfano, tunayasolve kwa pamoja, tunayatatua kwa pamoja kama kitu kimoja, badala ya kila mmoja kupambana kivyake na kufanya. Inawezekana tukawa tunarudia kila ambacho mwenzangu amefanya na wewe ukajaribu kukifanya kwa kurudia, kitu ambacho tunaita ni duplication of efforts.
My name is Carolina Koth. I am a spatial data scientist with CPCS Transcom and also a co-founder of Women in GIS Kenya. This week we are attending the Data Science Africa conference that's in Dedan Kimathi University in Nyeri. It's an exciting conference, especially the first 2 days of the summer school. We've been able to explore various ways of applying AI in a lot of the work that we do. Particularly today's session on applied machine learning methods for satellite data imagery. That was very, very interesting. I use a lot of satellite data imagery for my work, but the presenter explored different ways in which we can apply and different APIs that are available for application in climate change, in agriculture, in transportation analytics, and I cannot wait to apply all that for my work in analytics. For a lot of the work that we do in this region, we rely heavily on very dated data. But I feel like at this point, we are at the point where we are able to generate data for ourselves. I'm going to particularly talk about applied data or generation of data for transportation analytics purposes. Previously, we've been relying on actual field data collection to say collect data on road conditions, but at this moment we are able to apply machine learning to generate data on road conditions and railway tracks and electrification and distribution of people along this infrastructure in different locations. So pretty amazing, pretty good things to come along.
I'm Subhadeep Mazumdar. I'm from the University of Sheffield and I'm a trainer over here, and I had a session on data visualization and a lab session on data visualization as well. Data visualization is understanding large volumes of data and making sense of that, and to also make decision making possible. And in data visualization we also look at how can large data sets be more understandable to different types of user communities. And particularly when we are looking at large data sets, computer scientists are the ones who are looking at these data sets, but they also need to be understandable to other stakeholders and other user communities like, say, organizations, senior management, members of the public. And in the data visualization discussions, we talked about how can we make this possible, what are the things that we should be taking care of, some of the best practices in making sure data visualization is understandable and accurately representing facts. We also looked at good and bad examples of data visualizations, and I think this is really important because as data scientists, as data visualization experts, it's our responsibility to make sure that the data we are working with is also accurately portrayed and accurately telling the right stories that we would like to make use of. Training is going to be very useful because data visualization is one of the ways how we can make data sets accessible to lots of different people. And this is something which is very tangible and which is very visible. And because it's so visible, it is also very powerful. And if it's powerful, then it has the capacity to make changes, help make decisions. And that's why we have to make sure that visualizations are appropriately designed and appropriately and accurately providing the facts that the data tell us. And that's why we need to be careful about the visualizations we create.
My name is Neil Patel. I'm at DSA 2024 from Meta. This is actually really awesome for me because this is my second time at DSA. I went to DSA 2022 in Arusha, which was a lot of fun. That's what brought me back. We had our session yesterday, packed house, completely packed room. I would say well over 150 people. We taught a class about generative AI, specifically open source. Well, introduction to LLMs, open source versus closed source LLMs, benefits of those. And then the really fun part for me was I actually walked the students through a notebook, had some interactive participation about how do you put an AI model into production on the internet. A lot of people have said, hey, I know how to use ChatGPT. They said, hey, I understand how to sort of run a model locally on my machine. But putting it on the internet is actually very easy, and a lot of people don't know that. So this lets people sort of host their own models. Then I gave them further exercises to be like, hey, fine tune, add some RAG, sort of make these models useful to you guys. And then look at how easy it is for you to sort of put it on the internet, and your friends, your colleagues, your family can use it. So that's sort of what I've been up to here. That's what I did. I'm very excited to come back to DSA again. Yeah. So what impact do I think it'll have? I think the big open question we had coming in was there was going to be students with a lot of different backgrounds. Some people barely knew what an LLM was, and then we had some guys asking really, really tough technical questions, things that I don't even think about working on Gen AI at Meta, right? And so that was very, very interesting. And I think we've sort of given everyone a fundamental baseline understanding of what to be doing. I think something we kept stressing was it really doesn't make sense for you to train your own models. Use big open source models that companies like Meta spend hundreds of millions of dollars to do, and then build your applications on top of it. And that's sort of what I was hoping kids would take away is, hey, it's actually not hard for you to put your model, put a model on the internet and tailor it to your specific use case. I think that's the big takeaway is I have no idea what people are going to use it for, but from what I saw from 2 years ago at DSA, I get LinkedIn messages over the next 6 months, next year about people being like, hey, I'm doing this, I don't really know why it's not working, or hey, I did this, I used what you taught me, I did this, look at how cool it is. Right? I'm really hoping to see some more stuff come out of that, and I hope we gave them a baseline understanding. I think the biggest gap going forward is going to be making sure that data from places that aren't as big is represented. I was talking to a lot of students who were thinking about, how do we get Swahili represented in these bigger models? Something actually my team asked me to think about was while I'm in Kenya, can we find valuable data sources in Kenya? Obviously, if I Google Kenya news, I can find a couple of valuable websites. But how do I get more in depth and find high quality? Universities, there's many universities in Kenya, they're all putting out great content that we think is high quality. But I don't know a lot of the universities. How do we sort of make sure that happens? And then the second part, which is in other languages, how do we keep Swahili information coming in?
I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Computer Science at Makerere University. I also lead the Makere AI Lab. That's a research lab in the Department of Computer Science. For this year, we are hosting Data Science Africa in Nyeri, Kenya, and I am the program chair together with two other program chair, Professor Elaine and Dr. Charles. Yeah, so our theme for Data Science Africa 2024 is data science for social good in the age of generative AI. As we realize now, we have generative AI, specifically large language models coming up. And so the purpose of our training and the workshop and the summer school is to really train students to understand the concepts around data science for social good, but while taking into consideration generative AI and large language models. And so for data science this year, in 2024, we have several themes that we have lined up for our summer school. We have sessions around mathematical foundations for machine learning. We have sessions around data visualization. We're also running sessions on computer vision, geospatial modeling. And then we also have several sessions that are tackling the whole topic of generative AI. We are looking at large language models in agriculture. We are looking at large language models as well, and looking at retrieval augmented generation for improving the performance of large language models. So we do have a wide range of topics that we have offered in this summer school of Data Science Africa, and we are positive that the sessions and the speakers that we have lined up are providing very important content for the students who have come all over Africa to be part of data science. Build our own machine learning applications for social good. So we saying that we're not just doing it for one country, but this is something that benefits all of us as Africans, that we can be able to learn the skills, the technology that is required for us to build out the AI solutions by ourselves. And we do this, as I have said, in an end-to-end manner for social good, where we take people through the process of understanding how the AI and machine learning data sets are collected and curated. Then we take them through the process of learning how to build the different models for the virus, for the different data sets that they have collected, and how to deploy the models. And so the different sessions that we have are tackling different data sets. For example, from text-based data sets, from voice data sets for ASR models, are looking at satellite data sets. We have sessions that are particularly focused on remote sensing for satellite data sets, because these are data sets that come out from the African continent, and so we need to skill the African scientists to work with these data sets to solve the pressing challenges that we have on our continent.